Hello, I'm Teresa, final year student of Petroleum Engineering at London South Bank University. I decided to do a placement so I could gain real industry experience to kind of top up my degree, what I have at the moment. So because I believe that doing a placement kind of differentiates you, it makes me stand out in the crowd. So when applying for graduate jobs, so I thought about these factors and I put them into consideration, and I decided to go for a placement. So pretty much, I went through pretty much every networking event that was available to students. So the engineering events, STO London, Bright Network, I went through all of them. Although I didn't find my placement through those events, it helped me develop a certain level of professionalism, which I translated into online applications through various websites like Target Jobs, Rate My Placements, or just the company websites as well. So I did a lot of online applications because that's the first path. So I did a lot of online applications, a lot of interviews, and eventually I was able to secure a placement through an online application. I applied to probably 50 different companies. So I got different rejections at different stages. So some companies I would get straight up a rejection at the first stage saying your background in petroleum engineering doesn't match the role you're applying to in sales, or you didn't make it to the final stage of the face-to-face interview. So in total, I applied to about 50 plus companies and counting. I've lost track. So I had my placement here at Mercedes-AMG HPP. So that's the Formula One arm of Mercedes-Benz as we know it. What I worked on, I was working as a purchasing placement student, otherwise known as a technical buyer. So pretty much what I did was my role was to source every single part that goes into a Formula One car engine. So it was a pretty huge role without any background knowledge. So it was a lot to learn on the job, but so far it was great. First of all, punctuality, being punctual. I never showed up on the clock. I always showed up before work hours. So punctuality was first. Time management as well, being able to effectively manage your time, because in the normal world, a second is a second, but in Formula One, a second is about an hour. It counts a lot. So being able to manage my time, being able to prioritize tasks, being able to build relationships, because I was dealing with a lot of stakeholders in my role. It was a role where you couldn't just put your head down and that's it. No, you had to speak to people the whole time. So I would say these skills, about these 5 skills which I've learned, which I learned from my placement, and I'm now trying to implement for the rest of my degree as well. I would say definitely go for it. First of all, if you want to make yourself stand out in a crowd when applying for graduate roles, definitely go for a placement. And most likely, if you do a placement in a company if you perform very well, then 99% you most likely have a guaranteed graduate role back at that company. So when your mates are in final year applying for graduate roles and balancing the final year project, you kind of have a step ahead already, because you don't need to apply for graduate roles. You already have a graduate role yourself. So that, and also being able to earn some money, practice your personal finance skills, because when you're earning money, you have to save money, you have to work with a budget. So this is not anything to do with education or your degree, but I think it's a good life skill as well. To get the most out of your placement, I would say ask a lot of questions. There are no stupid questions. That's a pretty cliche answer right now, but there are really no stupid questions. Ask a lot of questions, introduce yourself to people, be proactive, don't wait to get a task given to you. Find a task that you could take on. I believe that when you've done a placement, you have a better understanding of what life is like in the industry. So you are no longer having some false imagination of what life is like in the industry. It's not. You get a better understanding of what professional life is like. You get a better understanding of the industry you're trying to break into, and you get a better understanding of the concepts that you've learned in class and how now it applies in the real world.